how principles protect purpose and potential. I repeat, how principles protect purpose and potential. I want to give you a subtitle for this session, and that is Principles, the Key to Life and Effective Living. Principles, the key to life and effective living. Our major goal today is to explore the relationship between principles, purpose, and potential, and to hopefully understand how principles protect purpose and potential. I want to begin with some statements that may be worthy of noting. The first one, everything in life was created for a purpose with potential to operate by a principle. I repeat, everything in life was created for a purpose with potential to operate by a principle. In our teaching sessions over the last couple of years, I have been emphasizing the value of purpose. Previous to that, we've dealt with the subject of potential and continuing to do so because it cannot be exhausted. And one of the things that I hope you learned is that purpose is the cause of creation. Purpose causes the creation of things. I also hope you learned that potential is the ability built into the creation to fulfill its purpose. So I want you to write this down this way. Purpose produces potential. Potential is protected by principle. Please write this down. It's very awesome stuff to teach your children. Purpose produces potential. And potential is protected by principles. Therefore, purpose without potential is frustration. I repeat, purpose without potential is frustration. I want you to take a look at that little note and see if you can understand what it means. Have you ever been given a position but not been given the authority to function in it? Did they ever give you a title but didn't give you the power to carry out the job? How many of you know what I'm talking about? The most frustrating thing is to be called executive manager and they don't let you do nothing. That's called purpose without potential. They gave you the purpose for your position. They tell you that you are a manager, but they didn't give you the powers that come with it. And what happens? You become frustrated because they expect you to perform, but didn't give you the ability to execute. So wherever there's purpose, but no potential, then frustration is the result. Now I want you to write a second interesting principle down. Potential without principle produces destruction. Potential without principles produce destruction. Now that's the other side of the problem. First problem, if you have a position of power without the power, you're frustrated. So you have purpose without potential. The other problem is if you have purpose, the position, and the power, but you don't have the principles to operate by, you are a dangerous person. You see, principles protect potential and safeguards purpose. In other words, it's not just enough to know your purpose, and it's not just enough to know your potential. We need something to protect you from abusing people with that power. Adolf Hitler. Oh yes, here we go again. A man who had position and power. But he did not operate according to godly principles. The power was still present. The position was obvious. He was in charge. He was Führer, father of the nation of Germany. But the principles were not in place. He was operating on erroneous principles. And what happened? 6 million people were killed. The most dangerous people to be with are powerful people without principles. There are politicians who got power, but no principles. You know, I'd prefer to have someone with principles and no power than to have them with power and no principles. Why? Because they use the power to kill you. There are people on your job who have position and they got power, connections, but they ain't got no principles. So they will eat you alive. They will fire you. They'll destroy you. They'll do all kinds of undercurrent work to undercut you. When you finish, you're out of a job. And they laugh at you on your way out. No principles. I guess you could say that the Lord has introduced me to the third level of life. From potential to purpose, and now to the protection of both principles. Because if you don't understand the principles of life, then life becomes your enemy. Power is innocent. That's why it is so dangerous. Because it depends on whose hands it's in. If that person has no principles, then power becomes a tool of destruction. I want to ask 3 questions. What is purpose? Second, what is potential? Third, what is principles? I want to answer them and write these answers down very, very concise. First one, purpose is the original intent for creation. That's simplified. Purpose is the original intent for creation. Number 2, what is potential? Potential is the inherent ability to fulfill the purpose. I repeat, potential is the inherent ability. That word is important, inherent. It is the inherent ability to fulfill the purpose. Third question, what is principles? Principle is the inherent laws for function of potential. Principles are the inherent laws for functioning the potential. Write these 3 terms down. Purpose, therefore, is why something exists. That's purpose. Why it exists. Second, potential is what it can do. That's potential. Its ability, what it can do. But principle is different. Principle is how it is to be done. How to do it. So purpose then is why something exists. I have here a guitar. If you will please allow me to touch this guitar, Mr. Guitar Player. This instrument has a purpose in the mind of the manufacturer, who happens to be Fender Incorporated. So the manufacturer built this to fulfill the purpose of producing bass sounds. Everybody got that? Purpose. So when they were desiring a product to fulfill the purpose in their minds, they built this so that it could fulfill the purpose. So they put into it, you see some little circuits here, the potential to produce the sound. So this product has in it the ability, the potential inherent in it to produce sound. However, they also inherently built in to the purpose and the potential a principle by which this is to operate. So we got power, we got purpose, but we also need to obey the principles by which this is supposed to operate. If we disobey or disregard or violate the principles of how to operate this product, then its power will not be a blessing to us, and its purpose will not be fulfilled. Are you with me? I am sure one of the principles of this product is that you must connect it to an amplifier. That's a principle. Secondly, it is an electric base. Electricity. So you cannot fulfill this product's purpose unless you submit it to the principle of electricity. Thirdly, I am certain one of the principles is do not operate near water. Come on. I am certain that's a principle for this product. Do not put in water and play. Because water, the principle of water will work against it. Because water has a principle called conduction. In other words, water has the ability to collect electricity and send it out. That's a principle. That's why you get shocked. That's a principle. You can't bind that out of water. Water got that built in. You can, cast the electricity out of the water. The water is built to carry and to able to absorb electricity. So if you put an electric instrument in liquid, the liquid will literally sap the energy and transfer it to whatever is in it. So this product that I hold in my hand actually is an example of all three very simple facts and truth. Purpose, bass sounds. Potential, to amplify. Principle, to operate on electricity. These sound simple, but they are very much misunderstood. Now, therefore, you can write this down, no matter who you are, what you can do, or where you're from, you will not be successful without adherence to principles. I repeat, it doesn't matter who you are, where you're from, or what you can do. You will never be successful without adherence or submission to or obedience to principle.